everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren and we're back in the kitchen. If you have not checked out last week's video, you're definitely gonna wanna do that so that you can get up to speed. I painted the kitchen cabinets and that was such a fun video. I absolutely love painting kitchen cabinets, so definitely check that out. We'll link it down below. Check that out before you watch this video, because in this video, it is the next step of the kitchen. I was not too sure which video or which project I wanted to do next, so I went over to Instagram and asked you guys over there, and the vote was that you guys wanted me to paint the kitchen walls. By the way, if you're not over there following us on Instagram, be sure to go and do that so that you can interact with us over there on a more, day-to-day basis in real time. And you can also participate in polls like that, where I ask you guys what your input is for what we bring you here over on YouTube. All right, now that that's all said and done, it is time to get started painting the kitchen. Before we dive into today's project, let's talk about our sponsor of today's video, Harry's. Harry's hooked us up with their new starter set, and it came with a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, a blade cover, and their foaming shave gel. Something that both Neiman and I are really excited about with this shave gel is that it's perfect for sensitive skin, which both of us have, and it has skin-loving ingredients like aloe and hyaluronic acid.
Their premium blades are actually manufactured in their own factory in Germany and give a close, comfortable, pretty dang smooth shave. And they're a bit more reliable than the old Volkswagen CC that I had. That was also made in Germany. So good job, Harry's. You guys all know that Lauren's favorite color is orange, so it was only right that we went with Harry's new two-tone handle design in the Ember color. It has deeper handle grooves for an improved grip, so I'm not cutting my dang self, just like every other razor I usually use. And 50% of the plastic in their handle is recycled. Let's save the earth a little bit, huh?
We all know that the economy isn't ideal right now, so thanks to Harry's, they have fair price razors for everyone, which includes no pink tax and no outrageous price tags, just premium quality at an affordable price.
And now, just to finish off with a little bit of post-shave balm. Wanted to say thank you to Harry's for sponsoring this video. And before we get back to the project, if you guys saw anything that you liked here, the simplicity of this starter kit, make sure you head over to harrys.com/furnitureflippingteacher and get your starter kit today for just $3.
Oh my goodness, paint is so difficult to choose, especially when you're choosing white paint. I decided that I wanted to try out the paint here that we had painted throughout the bottom of our house, which our contractors did for us. And this color is called Reserved White, and it really has a lot of gray tones into it. And I think that that will be really good for the blue here, and then also not to just completely match up with the whites. So I have done a couple of sample areas that I'll show you real quick, and then we need to clean, we need to just fill any holes that are around, and so on and so forth. Let's get started. Right there is the Reserved White right up against that cabinet. The trim is going to be regular white, just like we did in the sunroom windows. So I think that having this more of a grayer toned white is going to be really nice. There it is on the other side of the wall. I painted several different areas so that we could really tell the difference in the different areas of lighting. So there it is down there next to the blue. And then here it is over on this wall. I do realize that it's hard to tell in camera, but I promise it's gonna come together. So I might put this shelf back up, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and take it down. For painting purposes, I think that that's gonna be the best idea. But at the same time, I really do like it for like a plant shelf or something like that. So we'll see what ends up happening if I put it back or not. Okay, so now that we've got that shelf taken care of, and I'll take these nails out here soon, but we've got a little bit of work to do before we're actually ready to paint. Of course, don't we all just adore prep work? The answer is no, but it is totally and completely necessary in order for you to get a great end result. So some of the things that I need to do is, the main thing, honestly, is that I need to wipe down the walls. And the reason is because we had our contractors repair a lot of drywall, and so it is very, very dusty on the walls. And if I just went ahead and painted, it will just clog up all of my paint rollers and paint brushes, and then also all that dust will just stay on the walls, and it just will get lumpy, and it's just not a good look on the walls after the paint. So I found these wipes, and they are actually wall cleaning wipes, and they don't leave a residue. So that is perfect. That means I'll only have to wipe them down one time, and then we will be good to go on to the next step of prep. Cleaned the walls. Oh my gosh, I think I almost used that entire can. But the walls are clean. Next thing I'm gonna do is sand down the trim. And again, I'm not gonna be getting all of the paint off. My main goal is to knock down any of the bumps, lumps, things like that, so that I know exactly where I need to put the wood filler. Taped off the cabinets since I just painted those. I don't really want there to get different wall paint and ceiling paint on there, so taped them off, blocked them out, so we won't get any paint on those guys. And my next step is to take off the light fixture up there, which we will be replacing, but for now I'm going to take it down and I'm going to get started painting the ceiling, because as I look up, it's just, it's white, but I just want a fresh coat on everything. So I'm gonna paint the ceiling first, and then we'll get to the walls. So for the ceiling, I went and grabbed some ceiling paint from Sherwin. And I'm gonna start by going around the edges of the ceiling, and then we will get to the roller, and I'll finish the inside of the ceiling. I always like to do my edging first, and then I can just kind of feather it out so that it doesn't look so obvious that it was edged up. So I've got a little bucket here, and it's got a liner, so it's super easy for cleanup, and then you just get more liners, and you can just toss these versus rinsing this out every single time. And then I'm gonna be using the zebra triangle brush right here so that I can really get close up into those edges. So for the ceiling, I went ahead and picked up a pole so that I could go ahead and easily paint the top up there. And I'm gonna go ahead and dump my ceiling paint in here. And we're gonna get started. All right, first coat on the ceiling is finished up. I don't know, I feel like it might need a second coat, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of time to dry here, and then I'll do the second coat before we move on to the walls. I changed the color that I'm doing on the walls, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. I was originally gonna do the reserved white that I had in the rest of the house, but I decided that I wanted something a little bit less gray, so keep on watching because the walls are up next. I went ahead and did a second coat on the ceiling. I saved you guys that time, didn't film it, so we are ready to go ahead and start the walls, but I am gonna be taping off the ceiling so that I don't get that paint for the walls on the ceiling. They're both whites, but the ceiling is like white, and the color that I ended up choosing for the walls is called Greek Villa by Sherwin Williams. So I went ahead and grabbed some cashmere and got it in eggshell. I always like to do walls in like the eggshell / satin. I really don't like a lot of sheen on the walls. So I am going to tape the ceilings off, and then we're gonna get to it. The reason I'm not taping the trim off is because I'm not gonna like intentionally get it on the trim, but like if it gets on there a little bit, I'll later be painting the trim and I'll tape the walls off. So just taping the ceiling off right now. Went ahead and got that tape up there. Now I'm gonna edge it out and then we'll get to rolling. Got the trim done, or like the cutting in done for the first round. So I'm gonna be using my Wagner Easy Smart Roller here. And so that means that I just need to suck up some of the paint inside this tube, and then I won't have to continue dipping my brush or my roller over and over again. And it's super easy to do. You just hook this on the edge of the paint can, like so. Sits right there. Then you connect it all the way down so that it makes sure to get in, like open up the valve, and you pull it out, and then you pull up the spout here, remove it from the paint can, and then you'll just take this little handle right here, and as you push it up, paint comes out of the roller as you roll it on. It's a pretty cool process. It does take a minute to get started. Don't be alarmed. Gotta get the paint through the holes. There we go. That wall took me, I don't know, less than 5 minutes to roll on. Now we'll move on to the next wall. I think we will do a second coat just for full coverage to be sure, but it really is covering very, very well. I'm very pleased. You guys, the first coat is finished and it is looking so good. I know I say it all the time, and I know I say that I know all the time, but it is so crazy to me every single time what the power of paint does. With just one coat, it's already looking so much brighter and so much just more airier in here. Definitely doesn't have full coverage just yet, so we will do a second coat here in just a little bit. This roller makes a world of difference as well. I'll link it down below. They're around $30, so it's a really good investment for projects to make them go pretty quick. And then usually I just wrap it up, leave the paint in there if I'm gonna do the second coat the same day. If not, you'll definitely wanna, change it out, rinse it out, wash it out with the hose. It's a little bit messy to wash out, but not too bad, so definitely doable. Day 2, it's time for painting the trim, but of course before we paint it, we get to prep it. So I am going to be taking some spackling and filling some of the holes that I have in the trim just from removing old curtains and that shelf that I had removed. And then I'm also going to be taking the caulk and sealing up any seams that are visible, because once I paint it, I want them to be completely gone. So first up, fill in some holes. You can either do this with your finger, or if you have a putty knife, that would work as well. This goes on pink and then it'll dry white. So I really like that because it just tells you when it's dry. Good on the spackling, so I'm gonna move on to the caulk. And when you're using caulk, just make sure if you're gonna be painting over it that you get paintable caulk, because there are different types and it's important that you get the paintable kind. And then I always recommend that you caulk first before you paint. That way everything will just look so seamless, especially around the windowsills. There are so many opportunities for cracks. So that is what I'm going to be covering up. And then I'll also touch up some of the door frames as well. It is time to go ahead and tape while that caulk and spackling is drying. This is a perfect time to tape it off because, you know, I like to do things as other things are happening. This is the paint I'm going to be using for the trim. I used the same stuff in the sunroom when I painted the window trim, and I really like it. It has scuff defense, which means, you know, if things hit it or whatever, it's going to be easier to clean up. And this color is ultra white, so it's gonna be a little bit brighter than the walls are. It's like pure white, no undertones, anything like that. Oh, and this is satin finish. So again, it's gonna be just a tad bit more of a sheen than the walls, which are eggshell satin, so it's less sheen. Satin on the trim is gonna have a bit more luster. Trim, first coat, done. I like the white trim in here and it's really coming together. I did a second coat of the trim off camera and then just a couple of touch-ups for a third coat. It is looking excellent. I cannot wait to get this tape off, and that is just what I am about to do. Learn from my mistakes. I know this. I don't know why I didn't do it. You should definitely take your tape off when the paint is still wet, or else it's gonna peel. So I'm definitely gonna have to do some touch-ups, but it's okay. It's okay. It happens. It happened. make some quick touch-ups real quick. This was really the worst spot. Finish! Whew. It only took me 2 days, which I'm super surprised about because I had to do the ceiling 2 coats, the walls 2 coats, and the trim 2 coats. To be honest, the trim took the longest because it's just the most taping off that I had to do and things like that. But I'm really glad that I ended up going with the bright white for the trim pieces. I had thought about, because I had someone mention it to me on Instagram about just like continuing the Greek villa to the trim around, but I kind of like it to stand out a bit more. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. I think that this room is really, really coming together. The only thing that we really need to do now is the floors, but that's basically throughout the whole upstairs here, as well as we need to get some furniture and the fridge, different things like that. So this room's pretty much done. We'll like kind of give it a check mark. Not all the way though by any means. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to get subscribed down below because next week we'll have another awesome Airbnb makeover for you guys. I'm really not sure which room I'm gonna move to next, but 2 weeks in the kitchen is enough for me at this point, so I'm definitely gonna move on. And also thanks again to Harry's for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to redeem your starter kit for just $3 by using my link down below, harrys.com/furnitureflippingteacher. We will see you guys on the flip side.